The year 2022 was a tough year for some of Germany's top amusement parks. The most recent incident took place at Legoland Deutschland Resort, and it was a terrible incident involving 31 people in 2 different trains on the notorious Fire Dragon roller coaster. Merely a week earlier, a woman died after falling off the hot ride roller coaster at the Wild- und Freizeitpark Klotten amusement park. Investigators are still trying to figure out the mystery of the horrific incident. Earlier in 2019, a man was crushed by a roller coaster at the Berlin Christmas market. He was working at the time, and to this day, no one knows why he was on the tracks. Stay tuned for all the details of these 3 recent sad roller coaster incidents at Legoland Resort, Klotti Park, and the Berlin Christmas Market Fair. Legoland Deutschland Resort is the 107 acres Legoland Park located in Günzburg in southern Germany, roughly halfway from Munich to Stuttgart. It opened in 2002. It's one of the 4 most popular theme parks in Germany. It boasts intriguing Lego reproductions of various German cities and rural landscapes. As for the major incident that occurred there in 2022, it happened on the infamous Feuerdrache roller coaster, which in English means fire dragon. It's a roller coaster that was built in 2002 by the firm Sira GmbH in Deggendorf. This rather crazy ride travels at speeds of up to 35 miles per hour along a 1,476 feet track. On Thursday afternoon, August 12, 2022, 31 people were injured while on the Fire Dragon roller coaster at Legoland in Günzburg. On that unfortunate day, 10 children, 20 adults, and 1 teenager were on separate trains on the ride. The first train on the roller coaster malfunctioned and suddenly braked sharply too early, about 100 feet from the platform. Seconds later, another train, which for some reason was released on the ride before the first one reached the unloading platform, crashed into the stalled train in a horrific manner. Luckily, neither of the trains derailed and no one was ejected from their seats. However, 31 passengers were now in pain and stuck in a steel wreck nearly 20 feet off the ground. The wreckage was a mess, and it was impossible to get people out of the trains safely. The park staff couldn't even reach them to comfort them. The park management had to use loudspeakers to communicate with them. It was a messy scene, and the words did not ease the pain, nor made the children stop crying. The injured children were crying and the adults were screaming for help. Everyone on the 2 trains was injured. 2 of them had sustained serious, but non-life-threatening injuries. Rescuers on the ground and spectators watched in horror and feared that some of the passengers would slip from their cars and fall to the ground. When the emergency crews arrived at the scene, they found a very difficult task ahead. The salvage was initially complicated and required special equipment and too much time because the rescue workers were unable to reach the second train without moving it. It was so bad, the rescue teams had to call not 1, but 3 helicopters to assist with getting people down. When the almost impossible rescue was completed, nearly 2 hours later, everyone was relieved that none of the injured had internal bleeding or life-threatening injuries. 15 people were taken to the hospital for further observation, while 15 others had minor bruises and abrasions. However, 1 person sustained serious injuries to the chest, but was fine a week later. Even though the rescue mission was complicated and dangerous, the park continued to operate normally after the incident, with the area being cordoned off from other visitors and no announcements being made over the speakers. This made many people quite upset, especially the families of the victims. The investigation is still ongoing. Preliminary results show that the mechanical problem was to blame, and there was no criminal negligence involved on the park's side. It's not clear whether the victims launched lawsuits or not, or were compensated by the park. Unfortunately, the crash at Legoland Deutschland was not the first serious incident in August 2022 in a German theme park. It was the second, and came merely after a week after a woman died after she fell from the hot ride roller coaster at the Freizeitpark Klotten, which is a famous German amusement park and popularly known as Klotti Park. The Freizeitpark Klotten, Klotti Park for short, is an amusement park on the Moselle near Klotten in Rhineland-Palatinate, Germany. The park was founded in 1970 as a games park, but by 1996 the owners began adding playground equipment and rides in addition to a zoo. In 2004, the roller coaster Hot Ride was the first major attraction that made the park become a hit among patrons. The Hot Ride roller coaster is a bobsled model steel roller coaster manufactured by the firm Gerstlauer Amusement Rides. It has a ride of 58 feet, a top speed of 34 miles per hour, and a length of 1,745 feet. On Saturday afternoon, August 7th, 2022, a 57-year-old German woman died after falling from the hot ride. She sustained serious injuries and most likely died on impact. According to eyewitnesses, it was a horrific and bloody scene. She was not identified by name. According to investigators, the woman first slipped from her seat during a curve before she fell out of the carriage car from a height of about 26 feet. The final investigation results have not been published yet, but according to the website welt.de, an autopsy was performed and the reports show that she may have experienced a heart attack before the fall. Nevertheless, experts believe that the restraints should have been sufficient enough to keep her in her seat even if she was experiencing a heart attack. No criminal charges have been brought against the park, which reopened the following Tuesday after inspections were performed. Apparently, even the hot ride roller coaster was also cleared to reopen, but remained closed until the final investigation is concluded and further technical inspections are completed. So far, there is no news of whether the woman's death was caused by negligence of the third party or due to a mechanical issue. Back in November 2019, there was also a fatal incident involving a roller coaster in Berlin at the famous Christmas market fair. The famous and massive annual Christmas market in 2019 was operating from a large car park on Landsberger Allee in northeast Berlin. Hundreds of thousands of people flocked to this amazing event that includes endless winter stalls and the Berlin Winter Magic Fair, where one would find breathtaking, colourful lights, a strong Christmas scent, and a seemingly endless number of adventurous rides, including a roller coaster. However, on Sunday, November 25th, 2019, merely 2 days after the market kicked off, horror struck in the fair section of the Christmas market, as a man was crushed to death by a roller coaster in front of spectators, including children. The man was working at the ride at the time and, for some yet-to-be-determined reason, stood on the tracks or was crossing the tracks when the speedy roller coaster train crushed him below it. The scene was heartbreaking because it was Christmas time and the victim's family had to endure horrific news at such time. The scene was sad and bloody, and a family of 4, including 2 children who were on the train involved in the incident, had to receive psychological assistance because they saw the man getting struck and crushed firsthand, which is a difficult thing to come to terms with. According to the fire department spokesman Jens-Peter Wilker, the victim was a roller coaster attendant who was working on the ride at the time of the fatal accident. The police investigator later ruled out foul play, but didn't reach a conclusive answer as to why he was on the tracks as the train approached. He may have seen something out of place and tried to remove it. Were you at any of these incident locations at the time of the tragedies? Do you have any information that we missed? Let us know in the comment section below. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell button to get notified every time we upload a new video that will take you to the heart of the scenes and mysteries of some of the most terrifying incidents, accidents, disasters, and paranormal events from around the world.